I'm Scott Boehm. They call me the old farmer. Am I doing deja vu all over again with this Franklin Workstation? Stay tuned and find out just what happened.
I want to go back, he wants to go back, I want to go back to the farm, back far away from home, with a milk pail on my arm. I miss the rooster, the one that used to wake me up at 4 a.m. down on the farm.
If you have been following the conversation over at Video 77, Harbor Freight Franklin Workstation, there is a good soap opera going on, and I must admit, I caused it. As you can see, Gary asked me a question about the Harbor Freight Franklin Workstation. I tried to replicate what happened to him and ended up locking the workstation tighter than a politician grabbing a donation. I could not get it unlocked. Gary, in the meantime, exchanged his workstation with one that worked. He was in the 90-day warranty period. In the meantime, I'm trying all sorts of things to get my workstation unlocked. I took it apart to some degree, not all the way because this little puppy had a lot of tension on it. Every time I tried to unlock it, it clicked tighter to the point I could not get it to unlock or to lock any tighter. I contacted Harbor Freight to see if they had any ideas on how to get the workstation released. I gave the model number and asked for a phone call back. After a couple of days, I called customer support and got one of the rare individuals at Harbor Freight that was just punching a clock. They said to give it a couple of days more for a phone call. I waited a week, then called customer support again. I explained, they listened. This young lady was way beyond her horizon. But this didn't stop her. No, sir, she started calling around and finally found someone that could help. I'm not mentioning names because I hadn't asked if I could use their names. These people are typical of the high-quality people working at Harbor Freight, or for that matter, most of the customer service businesses other than fast food establishments. We ended up talking about the workstation and how it was a modified car jack from years past. I explained my knowledge base, but that I was nervous about taking the workstation down to component parts because the tension locked into the jaws. He agreed and said that HF had never had this happen before, as far as he could tell. And he has been working for Harbor Freight for more than 9 years. He wanted to see this puppy, so would I mind swapping out the workstation? He wanted to see it so that he could judge whether this was a fluke, no relation to the meters, or a design flaw. A few days later, the folks at my local Harbor Freight called and said they had the paperwork to exchange the workstation. The one I had is going back to California. Now let me bring up an additional little fact. This workstation was purchased last April. It is now September. It's well past the 90-day warranty. And I hadn't bought the extended warranty. I also pointed this out over the phone, but the man said that he wanted to see the workstation, so let's swap. It wasn't that they were bending the rules, they wanted to see what happened. So here's the new workstation. Let me be honest. I was hampered not having one to use during this episode or event. If I could not have fixed this tool by taking it to component parts, I would have bought another one. I cannot believe how much I use this glorified jack stand. Now let me tell you that you should not lock it tight without having something that can be cut out to release tension. A good example can be a piece of packing styrofoam. It is denser material and can be cut out of the jaws easier than most other things. Another example is an old HF hose clamp case. If you don't want to use styrofoam, then use this set screw on the side of the unit to hold everything tight while moving it to another location. I am sure glad I have the Harbor Freight Franklin Workstation to use on projects again. As I said in the other video, if you don't have a workbench, get the Harbor Freight Franklin Workstation. Or if you do have a workstation, get one anyway. I use this vise 100 times more than I use my machinist vise or my wood vise. If you don't get the Harbor Freight Workstation, get one from another company. It is handy as all get out. And through all this, I have a new YouTube friend, Gary. He lives in Michigan too, so I guess in a way, we're almost neighbors. Well, this is the old farmer. Be well.